Well, it's time to rise and shine, peoples. It is a Monday morning. It's time to get up and get moving. That's right. You're wasting daylight. Good morning to you. I'm Kevin Elkin, and of course, this is Decisions 2.0, where we talk about the things of life. Some of it makes sense, and some of it doesn't. We're going to figure it out one way or the other. It is July the 7th, 2025. It's another day on top of the ground, and the ground, of course, is not on top of you. It is a day that has never been, and it is a day, believe it or not, won't ever, ever come again. It is a once-in-a-lifetime deal. And once it's gone, you don't get a do-over. You don't get it back. You don't get to summon it from the past. You don't get to come back and do all the things that you should have done this day. And more importantly, you don't get a chance to come back and undo the things that you do. So whatever it is that you do with this day, the 7th day of July, 2025, make sure that if tomorrow should be, you'll be proud of what you have done on this day. Next up, it is our daily bread, and we'll come back and get this party started. A lot of things to talk about today. The tragedy in Texas, and it is a tragedy. I think it's probably the worst drowning we've had in the history of America. But we'll be back after this. Don't go no place.
We are good and we please God when our hope and faith are in Christ alone, not in our goodness.
Our Daily Bread.
Today's encouragement from the Our Daily Bread devotional was written by Karen Wolf. Karen writes, "As I was growing up in Jamaica, my parents raised my sister and me to be quote-unquote good people. In our home, good meant obeying our parents, telling the truth, being successful in school and work, and going to church, at least Easter and Christmas. I imagine this definition of being a good person is familiar to many people, regardless of culture. In fact, the Apostle Paul in Philippians 3 used his culture's definition of being good to make a greater point. Paul, being a devout first-century Jew, followed the letter of the moral law in his culture. He was born into the right family, had the right education, and practiced the right religion. He was the real deal in terms of being a good person according to Jewish custom. In verse 4, Paul writes that he could boast in all of his goodness if he wanted to. But as good as he was, Paul told his readers and us that there is something more than being good. He knew that being good, while good, was not the same as pleasing God. Pleasing God, Paul writes in verses 7 and 8, involves knowing Jesus. Paul considered his own goodness as garbage when compared to the surpassing worth of knowing Christ Jesus. We are good and we please God when our hope and faith are in Christ alone, not in our goodness.
Today's Our Daily Bread devotional scripture reading is from Philippians chapter 3, verses 1 through 11. Further, my brothers and sisters, rejoice in the Lord. It is no trouble for me to write these same things to you again, and it is a safeguard for you. Watch out for those dogs, those evildoers, those mutilators of the flesh. For it is we who are the circumcision, we who serve God by his Spirit, who boast in Christ Jesus, and who put no confidence in the flesh, though I myself have reasons for such confidence. If someone else thinks they have reasons to put confidence in the flesh, I have more. Circumcised on the 8th day, of the people of Israel, of the tribe of Benjamin, a Hebrew of Hebrews, in regard to the law, a Pharisee. As for zeal, persecuting the church. As for righteousness based on the law, faultless. But whatever were gains to me, I now consider loss for the sake of Christ. What is more, I consider everything a loss because of the surpassing worth of knowing Christ Jesus my Lord, for whose sake I have lost all things. I consider them garbage, that I may gain Christ and be found in him, not having a righteousness of my own that comes from the law, but that which is through faith in Christ, the righteousness that comes from God on the basis of faith. I want to know Christ, yes, to know the power of his resurrection and participation in his sufferings, becoming like him in his death, and so somehow attaining to the resurrection from the dead. That's today's scripture reading from Philippians chapter 3, verses 1 through 11.
Let's pray. Dear Heavenly Father, as we seek to live a good life, help us to remember that knowing Jesus is the way to ultimate goodness. In his name we pray. Amen. Today's encouragement was provided by Our Daily Bread Ministries.
Now it's time to get up. Okay? Time to get up. Let's get it done. Let's get it done. Let's get it done. Let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go.
Bo diddly, have you heard? Bo diddly, have you heard? We're gonna jump from a big iron bird. We're gonna jump from a big
And
iron
right
bird.
to
Stand up, hook up, shuffle to the door. Stand up, hook up, shuffle to the door. And you leap right out and count to 4. Leap right out and count to 4. If my main don't open wide, if my main don't open wide, I got a reserve by my side.
That's right.
I got a reserve by my side. Here we go. Here we go. All the way. All the way.
All the way.
Gotta be. Rough and tough. Hey, lottie, lottie, lottie. Hey, lottie, lottie, oh. Hey, lottie, lottie, lottie. Hey, lottie, lottie, oh. Well,
LGI gravy. We're so glad we can join in, baby.
Well, GI Greasy, GI Corn. We're so glad that they're gone.
Those that are.
Here we
Here we go.
All the way. Every day. All the way. Airport.
All righty then. Well, that's how we wake up first thing around here. Now, you know, it is a Monday, and which means that I have to give you guys my motivating speech today. And the one, it only lasts for a few minutes. It is by Tim Tebow, and it's about living a life of significance. Most of us that are successful, that's pretty good. The problem is success is for you, but to have a life of significance, one must affect other people, you know, in a good way, of course. So here we go with Tim Tebow and live a life of significance. And then we'll come back with the issue of today. But we gotta start the day off right. Okay. Sometimes you just gotta do this. Okay. Sometimes you just gotta do something different. Okay. So where's Tim at? Right here. Okay, right there. Now where did he go? Oh, there we go, right there. Here we go. Okay. Tim Tebow, a life of significance. We'll be back.
When I was at the University of Florida, for every home game, we would get in the bus at our hotel and we would drive right by the stadium and we would stop at what's called the Gator Walk. In every game I played there was probably 20 to 40,000 fans at this Gator Walk, ready to greet us as we get off the bus. I would see all these people. I gotta tell you, there were a lot of voices that started to hit me. One of the first voices that instantly hit me was pride and arrogance, because I would look out and I would see thousands of jerseys with my number on it. I would look out and I would see Bible verses that they were wearing because I wore them. And so for a second you thought, dang, I'm something. They're here for me. This is pretty cool. I must be somebody. There's a picture that I stumbled across, and it's one of Time's 100 most influential images of all time. And it's the picture of this young girl. She's on her way from her village to a feeding center not far away. And she's so malnourished and she's moving so slow that this vulture is waiting to attack. So the young man that took this picture, I think there was probably something in his heart that he wanted to do good. He wasn't sure. So he captured this picture and he just waited, and then the vulture got closer. So he kind of shooed the vulture off, and then he walked away, and the vulture would come right back. And he was told, because of some of the sicknesses in the areas, don't touch anybody, don't do anything. And so he didn't. He didn't. He did nothing. Because apparently the cost was too much. So he left. He went back. The New York Times published this photo in 1993. In 94, he won the Pulitzer Prize for this photo. 4 months after this, he chose to end his life. You see, every single one of us, we have a chance to be successful in life. And you know what? I hope you are. I really do. I hope you're successful. There's nothing wrong with being successful. But success is just about you. But significance is about other people. You see, that man that took that picture, he had success. That's one of the greatest honors a photographer could ever have. But obviously it wasn't enough. It wasn't enough. So what's going to be enough for you? You see, success is great. You can do a lot of things with it. But it's not going to be fulfilling. And you can never forget that sense of urgency, that it's not about your timeline, it's about their timeline. While you might have 30, 40, 50 years, they have days, minutes, moments. She had moments, but it wasn't worth it to go pick her up. It wasn't worth it to give her a hug. It wasn't worth it to tell her about the gospel. Yeah, I won a Pulitzer Prize, but what does it matter? What does it matter? It doesn't. And I think the greatest tragedy in life is we're going to look back one day and say, I was successful in things that don't matter. I want you to be successful. But more than anything, I want you to be significant. And when you live for Jesus and you love people, I believe you're going to have a life of significance. When I was at the
A life of significance. Wow, that is an interesting story right there. So but I tell you, it's easy to sit in hindsight and judge people sometimes, because you don't know what you just don't know what's going through people's mind. The photographer probably didn't think about it. And it's easy for us to think, it's easy for us to think today what he should have did yesterday. So, but I love the message though. It's to whatever you do, be significant in it, because significance helps other people. Okay. Everybody can be successful, but that's for you. But the life of significance is when you reach out and you help others. So make sure that's the message of the day. Be significant in the things that you do, not just successful. Good morning to you this morning. I'm Kevin Elkins, of course, and this is, we call it Decisions, because that's what we all do. We all make decisions. And even when we don't make them, well, we kind of like make them. Good morning to you. First of all, let us, the biggest tragedy in America right now, and I don't think it gets enough coverage. The biggest tragedy in America. Last week we all heard about the flood in Kerrville, Texas. As a matter of fact, with a bunch of people on a retreat, a Christian retreat. Somehow something happened, and it flooded things, and it just, well, we there was a little 8-year-old girl from Bessemer, as a matter of fact, um who drowned, as a matter of fact. But now this morning, as the reports come in, it's even worse than that. Um, the death toll, and I'm still trying to, I'm still trying to wrap my mind around how this happened. I can't even, unless they were in a gully or something somewhere. How did this happen? This is Texas. Um, I mean, they got hills and desert, and um, how did this happen? But this morning, uh, it's 82 people. 82 people are dead, because of this storm. Families sifted throughout waterlogged Durbers on Sunday and stepped into empty cabins at Camp Mystic, an all girls summer camp, ripped apart by flash floods that washed homes off their foundations and killed at least 82 people in central Texas. I think of a lot of things in Texas. I mean, I can think of, but I never thought I'd ever hear a flood in Texas. I mean, 82 people. How did this how did this happen? Rescuers maneuvering through the challenging terrain, high waters, and snakes, including water moccasins, continued their desperate search for missing, including 10 girls, a counselor from the camp. For the first time since the storms began pounding Texas, Governor Greg Abbott said that there were 41 people confirmed to be unaccounted for across the state, and more could be missing. In Kerr County, home of the Camp Mystic, uh, and other youth camps in Texas Hill County, searchers have found the bodies of 68 people. 68. How is this possible? I mean, I think of a lot of things about Texas, border crossings. 82 people, and 10 more campers are missing. Of course, the young girl from Bessemer, 8 years old. Man, our prayers go out to her family and to her friends. And I mean, what do you say? You don't say anything. You don't know what to say. But it's a big story in this country, and I believe this is the worst drowning that I have ever. I mean, I have ever heard of in this country. I mean, really? I mean, a flash flood. I don't know what a. I guess a flash flood is a flood that comes unannounced because of torrential rains. I would imagine at some point, and you don't have time to get away and all that kind of thing. But my lord, that's that. I mean, how did this happen? Uh, I mean, how did this happen? It is mind-boggling to me. I don't get it. I don't know how that happened. It's a tragedy amongst tragedies uh, that this thing has happened. I don't know. It is about, especially when you hear little kids who were at a Christian retreat. I mean, they weren't out hanging out, getting drunk or anything like that. They were just nice kids, and but who am I to question God's providence? I don't know. It's tough. I mean, I thought about it. And I said, wow, this is. I mean, in Texas, and I mean, you think a lot of things going to happen in Texas, but you don't believe there's going to be a flash flood in Texas. I mean, you just don't. That's just not something you hear about too often in that part of the country. But I know Colorado, I could understand, and Washington, I can't understand, and all the states, Georgia, I mean, all the places that border these rivers and things of that nature. But never in 1,000 years did I think we'd have a flash flood. And you got 82 people missing, 68 people they know have drowned. 68 people they know have drowned. And my Lord, how does man? I mean that breaks my heart. I mean, anyway, and of course, with that many people, obviously, um, there's going to be a lot of states and a lot of people affected by this. And of course, it was affected in Alabama, Bessemer, which is right up the road near, I think Bessemer's up there near Birmingham, someplace, or right before you get to Birmingham. And so I don't know. It breaks. It ought to break a bunch of Americans' heart because, well, it's just something you never thought you'd ever hear. You never thought you would actually hear that kind of thing uh, in America. I mean, that many people and children, and at a Christian retreat. I don't know. But what happened, I don't know. I guess, and like my good friend Dan Moore used to say, in the fullness of time, we'll find out. Um, we'll find out what happened. I guess it doesn't really make any difference at this point in time because, well, because it's already over. It's done. Anyway, good morning to all of you guys. One of the things that happened right before Friday, or was it Friday or Thursday? The big bill that everybody was whining about. I've never seen so many lies put on television in my life. I mean, I think there ought to be a law against knowingly lying in the media. There ought to be a law against that. Somebody should be held accountable for the things that they are putting out. I mean, it is absolutely atrocious. Um, but anyway, and then it seems like Montgomery can't seem to handle our kids downtown over the weekend and things of that nature. But that's just the way uh, that's the way it goes around here. We live in a different city. The personality of Montgomery, Alabama, has certainly changed over the years since I have been here. Um, I got a guy who wants to come on and talk about that. We're going to see if I can reach him in a few minutes. But it's terrible. The things that are going on in this city, um, and at some point, we have to blame. We're not holding our people. We're not holding. Um, we're not holding um, any of our leaders personally responsible, but we have got to hold them for the atmosphere in America. I mean, atmosphere in Montgomery, Alabama. We have to. We have to. Somebody has got to be accountable to us citizens in this city. The things that go on around here. I mean, the unmitigated gall of some people around here um, to even do the things that they do. That somebody's got to be held responsible. Don't you think so? I think so. I think somebody ought to be held responsible for the things that that go on. I mean, not the, well, at least accountable to us about the things that are going on because there's something wrong in this city. And I hate to bring in politics to this but I think politics has got a lot to do with this. I think that giving people making everybody a perpetual victim for everything that happens in life. Yeah, I think there's a philosophical underpinning that makes people think that they can act crazy and they can do whatever they want to do. The other day, evidently, some people in some part of town, even the police was confused. Even they, from what I've been told, even they just shake their head sometimes and wonder, why there were people smoking dope and all kind of things right in front of the police, and that even the police didn't know what to do, and what happened to us? I mean, honestly, what happened to us? Uh, it should start with you. Look up the man in the mirror. Well, I don't normally tell a lie, Miss Camila. I don't normally tell a lie. Now I could be mistaken about some things, and we're all human beings, so we that can't happen. But normally tell a lie, like when the president's bill came down. Oh man, this is why. Well, I'm getting a haircut, but that's nothing compared to the drastic cuts that the budget came the other day. Now, here is the thing, and might as well get into this. Here's the thing that irks me. Most people don't know that all of these cuts are going to take place over 10 years. Okay. And you know what? Don't you think it's time? Don't you think it's time that people stop thinking the government's going to take care of you from womb to the tomb? Doesn't somebody think that? I mean, to be a slave is to be dependent upon somebody, and whether it's Uncle Sugar, your mama, your daddy, whoever, be dependent on somebody for the rest of your life. That's like a slave. And so we have people in this country that think it's okay to be a slave to the government. Okay. Okay. I mean, especially when you haven't contributed anything to it. You haven't contributed any money to it. You haven't worked. You haven't saved up anything. You haven't done anything. And so all you've done is been is depending on the government. And listen, I understand when I was coming up. I mean, it was listen. They got groups of people who go around and tell other groups of people how to get over on the government. Okay, and it's working. It's been working. It's been working forever. At least, I say I'm 60 something years old. Yeah, it's been working for at least that long. Yeah, yeah. How to get the food stamps? How to get the Medicaid? How to get the Medicare? And what we are doing is that the people who actually need this help, the ones who really need it, sometimes can't get it. Old people right here can. I know a lady who went down to get food stamps, 70 something years old. They wanted to give her $20. $20 for food stamps. Done work their whole life. Social Security is not that much, 78, especially when you're 80 something years old. If you're 80 something years old, you came up in the time in Alabama when it was tough to get paid to do anything. So, but we're going to give her $20. Well, other people can go around and have a bunch of kids, and all of a sudden they get all kinds of things, and it's a jackpot. And then you get the food stamps. Then you go to the store and try to sell them to other people. But let me digress. So, Mr. Jeffries, who happens to be is he the Speaker of the House? I think he is. Was sitting there making an outlandish speech the other day and trying to keep our people down. 'Cause that's what they're doing. They're trying to keep our people down. What we ought to do is tell people, hey, don't depend on the government. Oh, if you need it and you have no other way to get it done, I'm with you. You got to do what you got to do. But that should be your last thing to do rather than the first thing you think about doing. Because we have some issues going on in the hood. We do. We just, I mean, I thought when Clinton and them came in and said you work for it or whatever the case may be, you don't get it for free anymore, but that's not true. I think Biden all put it all back. But anyway, here's a question I had over the weekend for people. Here's the question that we had over the weekend for people. Everybody been complaining about, well, the rich people don't pay. The rich people don't pay. They pay. Well, they do pay, but they don't pay as much as we do on the front end. But a lot of them pay on the back end. So here's the question I have for folks this morning. Why aren't you rich? Why aren't you doing better than you are? Why aren't you? Because the only reason why people complain about rich people is because we broke. Okay? That's the only reason why. There's no other reason to complain about rich people. Who would complain about people who have been successful? In America, we've gotten this thing about complaining about people because they've been successful. And the truth be told, let's just tell the truth and shame the devil. The truth be told, that most of us, including yours truly, don't have a whole who don't have a whole lot of money and things of that nature. We complain about them. And the reason why we are in the position that we're in because of our own self. If you look in the mirror, okay, if you look in the mirror, you'll find a person that is at least 95% responsible for where they are. Well, so what the best we can do is complain about the rich. I don't mind people rich. First of all, do we want everybody poor? Do we want to be what the rich do? They do provide jobs. They come up with ideas, and the reason why you're not rich, okay, we just got to shame the devil here. The reason why you're not rich, the reason why you're not rich is because you're either lazy or you just haven't come up with an idea to put you in that position. You haven't worked hard enough. And most of and that goes to me too. I could have had a lot more money, but I didn't work hard enough either. So we put ourselves in these positions, and then we whine about the other guy who spent 80 hours. Okay, I don't need to research this topic. I live this topic. Okay, I've lived this. My research is my life. And the things that I have seen people do and not do. Okay, not do. If you're not in a good position in your life, it's because of you. Okay, except those with physical disabilities, they are the exception to the rule. But for the people complaining about rich people, let me ask you something. Who are you going to go get a job from? A poor man? Of course you can. Take Elon Musk, for instance. This guy is building things. Some of the stuff scares me, this AI stuff. But he's doing things. Tesla, he's doing things. And you could have did it. You could have came up with an idea. But you're probably like me, thinking the world just going to go by and something to come your way. That's not true. Most of these people have failed once or twice in some of the things they've done. But the difference between them and you is that they didn't give up. Okay. And which topic, Camila, do you think that I didn't report correctly on? I got my report from the reporter. Okay. So I'm just saying I don't know what you mean, but we can talk about that later on. If you want to call, you can. If you think I'm wrong, 521-2963. That's the way I roll. Okay, because there's something wrong with our mentality in America right now. It should being successful or influential should not be a session of character assassination for people. If rich people are rich, somebody earned the money. Somebody earned the money. If your father, your parents earned the money and left it to you, well, they earned it. And it's your responsibility to figure out how to keep it. And that's what I like about Trump. His dad left him plenty of money in real estate and things of that nature, but he didn't waste it. He figured out how to make it more money. So that's good. I wish I had a dad to leave me something like that, but I didn't. Most of us don't. But that's because we're in the wrong sperm pool. But that's okay. If you are born alive in America, if you have an opportunity, but most of us don't want to do what it takes to be very successful. Be through hard work or at least education, which is still hard work. So why aren't you rich? What, rather than complaining about everybody else that's making a dime or two, why aren't you rich? Well, if you look in the mirror, you'll find out why. You'll find out why. Again, unless you were born disabled, physically disabled, or mentally disabled, the only excuse you have is that you didn't work hard enough. You, me, and a whole lot of people. didn't work hard enough. We just didn't. Because had we done, and so, but you have a chance, to at least correct it some kind of way through your kids. Tell them what it takes. Tell them what it takes to be successful. Okay, tell them there's no substitute for hard work. It takes hard work. There's no there's no there- there's no there's no substitute for it. It's hard work. It's going to school. As a matter of fact, a lot of people, which is one of the reasons why they send their kids to private school as opposed to public school, because public schools teaches us how to exist, but it really doesn't teach us how to prosper. Okay, people ought to teach their kids about hard work, and sacrificial work. As a matter of fact, do the jobs that you don't want to do. The first thing I hear people talk about, the reason why we have so many illegal aliens, because we as Americans don't feel like doing the things that have to be done. Rather, we want to do the things we want to do. I'm one of y'all. I'm one of us. I didn't want to get out there and pick tomatoes or cotton or watermelons or anything like that. So and then we get on people who do. I don't understand people who do. And my only disagreement with the president right now is the way he's doing this immigration thing. It leaves a bad taste in my mouth. It just doesn't feel right to me. It doesn't feel like America. That people now, there was the one the other day where people were sitting on top of a roof, wouldn't come down because ice showed up. I mean, in America, we are. I know they came here illegally, but if the truth be told, we came here sort of illegally too. Christopher Columbus didn't make America. There was somebody here when he got here. Okay, so we kind of barged in too. And the Indians, everybody said, well, the Indians didn't come. They wasn't the first people here either. Okay, so nobody is the original inhabitant of where they are right now for years, probably for a couple centuries. No, nobody said. Everybody came from someplace. Okay, but some people come here. They put they need to the grind, and they do all the things they have to do. There are so many stories about people coming to Ellis Island with nothing. One guy, a black guy, as a matter of fact, I forgot his name, came here with $1.50 in his pocket, and that young man, and I'll get his number, his name when I research it at some point. But I read the story yesterday. I got his name. $1.50 came to Alabama and became a millionaire. And you think it was easy? No, I'm sure it wasn't easy, especially being black back in them days. Oh no, it wasn't easy. So again, why whine about people with money? Okay, why not figure how to make your own? Because I just got to say this: have you ever heard a Democrat, okay, say rather than dogging rich people, here's how you can do what he does. Here's how you can. And today with AI and all these things out here, we got teenagers now who have made millions of dollars because they figured out how to capitalize on the AI. And your age has nothing to do with that or their age, but they are younger. They're more in tune to what's going on today. So the question is, why aren't you rich? Why aren't you rich? Why, if not rich, why aren't you doing better than you are? Well, you probably got the same problem I got. Well, I was kind of lazy. Oh, I'm just a little lazy. My son used to tell me all the time, said, Dad, you wasn't getting that check from the Army. You'd be working harder too. He's probably right. But I didn't work hard. I worked hard at some point in my life, but not enough to amass millions of dollars. Well, come think about it. I'm a hundredaire. There are millionaires. There are thousandaires. Then they're like me, hundredaires. And then there are 20naires. The guy, every time you see him, he need to borrow $20. Okay, yeah, 20 nair. So anyway, That's just some of the things that we would I talked about on the weekend. Why? And here's the question: look in the mirror. And say why? Look in the mirror and say why am I not better off than I am? Why am I not better off than I am? And if you are honest, you will have to say it's because of the guy that's looking back at you. Does anybody disagree with that? It's you go to and we got these people going to college, right? Going to college, taking up political science. Well, good luck on that. Good luck on becoming a millionaire with that. Or gender studies. Good luck on that one too. Yeah, good luck on. Yeah, good luck. Listen, if you ain't by the time you get to college, you haven't figured out which gender is which. You probably got a long way to go still. The stupid curriculums that we're given, political science, right? Right. Like there's some science about politics. It's the science of manipulation, is what it is. Yeah. What other stupid course are we taking in college that's not going to get us anywhere? Here's one. Now, they are principles of business running the business. There's absolutely principles of running the business. But I'm telling you, with AI and the technology that's before us, man, you can run it. You can run a multi-million-dollar business out your house today. Okay, you could just do it. You don't need these great big monstrous buildings because use the technology. And every country that the country that takes the advantage of the technology economically will probably be better off than everybody else. For a minute, and think about this: for the United States, we dropped the first nuclear bomb. We took advantage of the technology, and well, okay, then look where we are now. China, I think the Chinese are taking advantage of AI. And will they be us one day? Yeah. I think they already are. Tell you the truth, I think they already are. The only thing that's holding them back is they don't give their people the freedom. They don't give their people the freedom to prosper like like America does. They just don't. They just don't do it. But if they gave, just think, if the Chinese with all the people they have, and with all the time that is spent copying American uh, technology, you would think that they would, if they had the ability themselves, they blow us out of the water economically. But so why aren't you rich? Why aren't you doing better than what you're doing? And I think I'm going to get somebody else in to talk later, hopefully next hour. They'll be to talk about what happened downtown over the weekend. And although it's every every weekend downtown now. So okay, just had to send somebody a message there. But so the question is: so when we take a hard look at where we are, where you are, I think you're going to reach one conclusion: I am where I am because I haven't worked hard enough. I mean that's it. I went to school for things that didn't matter. I went to school because I just wanted to go to school because they paid me a check. And when I got here in the 90s, we were having people getting Pell Grants and all these grants to go to school, but most of them didn't really take topics that would gain would prosper them. That they could prosper with. And some just took the Pell Grants so they could pay the car note, the rent. I understand that. You do what you have to do when you have to survive. You do what you have to. I got that part. I know that part. But everything has a consequence. Everything has a consequence. No, why aren't you rich? Why aren't you in a better position than what you are? That is the question this morning. Why aren't you? And again, if we are honest with one another, we have to say because of who we are, the things we have not done. And let me give you an example. Michael Jordan was the best. Is the best basketball. I don't know much about sports, but I know he's the best basketball player in the history of basketball. He wasn't very tall. I think he was 6'5". Wasn't very tall. Wasn't even very good, as a matter of fact, because they kicked him off the high school team. But what did he do? What did that man do? That man practice and practice and practice and practice. And then on top of that, practice some more. We got to do the same thing. You don't have to be a basketball player. Whatever field that you in, be the best teacher. Be the top of the line in everything you do. Okay? Because talking about other people, what they have will never get it for you. That will never make you have it because you talk about somebody else because they got money. It just won't do you any good. You can talk all day long. And at the end of the day, you go to your ATM, you still got the same amount of money in the bank. The only thing that's going to change your life is you. I wish somebody had really told me that back in the day. My mom was a Democrat, so I got some of that Democrat stuff early on. But thank God I broke away from some of it. So because we are to be the perpetual, in perpetuity, broke folks in America. We're going to be broke in America for the rest of our lives because of our color. I don't believe that to be so. There are a lot of well-to-do black folks around here, not just in Alabama, but in the nation. A lot of them. But the minute everybody finds out they got money, hey, I'm your Uncle Joe. I know we never met me, but this is what I need. And probably everybody does that. Probably if you got a family member that gets rich, probably everybody knows who it is, and they all come out the woodworks about, can I borrow this? Can I borrow that? So brother just keep his mouth shut nowadays. He ain't saying nothing to nobody. Let him choose who he wants to help and who he doesn't want to help. And you'd be surprised how nice people can be to you. You matter of fact, you'll be surprised at the people that you're related to when you got money. You'll be surprised. You didn't even know it, but they're related to you. I don't know where they've been all these years, but they've been around. So anyway, so again, the question is, and I think I need you guys to meditate on this all day long. Why are you not rich or well-to-do or better than where you are? Why aren't you? Well, if you like some of them people downtown over the weekend, those are people who will never be rich. They'll never be rich. They'll never do much of anything unless somebody grabs them by the head, by the neck, and said, "This is what you need to do." Okay, but you can't do that anymore because the one thing that is necessary to be successful, the one thing, is discipline. This is why discipline is so important. Because not only does it give you a quieter atmosphere in school, it helps you go through the tough times. It helps you go through when things don't go your way. You don't just quit. You back up, reload, and you move out in a different direction. So this is why discipline is the essential ingredient into being successful in life. And if you can't be disciplined in school, then forget about it. Forget about it. You'll be in jail. I mean, the governor didn't build this 4,200 bed prison out there for no reason. They built that prison because they knew some of us was on the way. Okay, because if we don't want to go to school, if we don't want to do what's necessary to be successful, then the only thing we're going to do is bad things. We're going to do bad things. We're going to do bad things, and we're not going to do what we have to do. We'll try to do the things that we want to do, but we won't do the things that we have to do. So again, why aren't you rich? Why don't you have money? I mean, really whining about the other guy's money. Why don't you have some? And the reason is, look in the mirror. I have looked in the mirror. That's why my checking account sucks. But I'm getting too old to change my ways now. But maybe some people hear this and they'll say, you know what? Elk Dog is right. I need to work a little bit harder than what I've done. Okay. Before the opportunities of this country pass you by. And I'm telling you, the AI thing is scaring me to tears because I got to tell you, it is an amazing technology. and it is going to change the workplace in this country, all over the world. It is going to change it. So you better learn something about this technology, or else you are going to be unsuccessful. And if you live in Alabama, you're probably going to be out there in that Elmore County prison out there. Okay. Anyway, and I was wondering what caused that flood. Yeah, it's called the Guadalupe River. It rose 26 feet during the flash flood weather. And I guess a whole bunch of water came down. Just they got 82 people missing, 43 people they know that are dead from flooding there. And one of those dead young people is from Alabama, from Bessemer, Alabama, 8-year-old child. Okay. And while that's happening to them, back on the range in Montgomery, Alabama on July the 4th, somebody gets shot. Now, it's not anything new because it happens just about every day, every weekend. Okay. So on the 4th of July, we are experiencing, we are celebrating our freedom, the so-called freedom we got in America. And we do got a little bit, but they're trying to get it. If you leave it up to the Democrats, we'll lose most of it. Okay. About 6:20 p.m. on July the 4th, police, firemen, they arrived at the 6,000 block of Sherburne Road, and with one person shot. Ernestine McGriff, spokesperson for the Montgomery Police Department, they found a man who had suffered fatal injury from a gunshot wound and was pronounced dead at the scene. Aren't we tired of hearing these stories? Every weekend, every other day, every 72 hours, somebody in this city is dying. Or at least being shot, if not dying. Aren't we tired of that? So what has brought this on? What has brought this on? Again, it is, like Martin Luther King said, it is your life's philosophy. It is your life. It's the things you believe that make you who you are, which put you in either in a position of success or a position of failure. But either way it go, it's going to be one or the other. And did Whitewater get a whole bunch of people this weekend? What'd say? Big C? Oh, no, I was preaching like a preacher this morning. Oh, glory. Everybody. But these are things that everybody knows, Big C. Everybody knows this. Everybody knows that the reason they're not successful is because of their own self, unless they are either mentally or physically challenged. And then that's where we help those folks out. Okay. But everybody knows. But it's a lot easier to okay. Hope no kids ain't listening. But it's a lot easier to bitch about somebody else than it is to get up and do something yourself. It's a lot easier. Why you late for work? Man, the bus didn't run. Okay, walk. It's too far. Walk, then start early. Get here. I know a guy right now that walks all the way from Eastern Boulevard to downtown to Bricks. They got a brick company, and I forgot what they call it now. He walks. And when I see him, I'll pick him up. But he walks. Again, if you want to do it, and I'm gonna tell you something. If somebody sees you doing something, they will help you. Oh yeah. If they see you doing something, people will help you. But you got to be doing something. They know if you're shucking and jiving them. They know if you're giving them the Bravo Sierra. They know that. But if you're really trying, and I'm telling you what I know, not what I think. I'm telling you what I know. Because when I got here in Montgomery, Alabama, oh man, sorry about that. I'm getting excited. I don't know how I knocked that over, but I did. When I got here in 1991, let me see if I can get that back. When there's a will, there's certainly a way, and that's true. But when I got here in 91, I knew absolutely nobody. I got here January 91, as a matter of fact. I knew absolutely no one. As a matter of fact, I was so broke down that I had to go to Mr. John Knight Sr., John Knight's dad, and get a haircut for free because I had to go to an interview, and I didn't have the money at that particular time to get my haircut because I had to go to this interview. I didn't know where I was going, and then when I got over there, the guy said, "Oh, we just take an application." So I went and I borrowed money for a haircut. Well, I borrowed money to get on the bus, and get over there because my VA thing was still going through the thing there. So I said, well, I got to go here. I knew absolutely nobody. So I got through out of every building downtown when I was trying to start my little business, right? I was trying to start the little business thing there, had an idea and so I kept doing it though. I kept doing it, kept doing it. And people began to they began to see that I wasn't going to quit it. And so they began to help. Okay. They began to help me, as a matter of fact. So I'm not telling you what I think. I'm telling you what I know. If you're willing to put in the work, people will help you. They'll see your effort and they will reward that effort. They won't reward complaining, because complaining, any dog can do that. They won't reward complaining. You don't get a reward for that. But people will help you do what you have to do. And I did whatever I had to do. Matter of fact, one of my jobs, is that my guest coming on right now? Let me see. Dun, 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 dun. Oh, there he is, right there. Well, I gotta go. Wait a minute. I gotta go to the studio and see who's there. Well, if it ain't Pastor Willie Knight. How you doing, sir? How you doing?
All right, Doc. How you doing?
I'm doing
I'm
fine.
good.
I'm fine. And you were disappointed in some of the things that happened downtown this weekend.
I just been disappointed in the leadership, not only just downtown, but what's going on here in Montgomery.
Like what?
I mean, just look around. Look around. It's more dangerous now than ever before. The problem is not, and I'm starting to learn, the problem is not the police situation. The problem is the lack of the lack of officers. The problem is the lack of structure. The problem, structure within the system. The problem is the lack of discipline in the home. And I mean, it's bad all the way around, Doc. But right now, in this city, I don't have my seatbelt on.
Yeah, why don't you put it on? Because it's killing my ears. Yeah.
I'm gonna put it on.
Yeah, put your seatbelt. It's against the law to ride without it on anyway. Mr.
I figured
enforcement guy.
Whether you get slung out the car or crushed in the car, if something happens, they got to clean you up either which way it goes.
That's a sorry excuse, but okay. That's a sorry excuse, but okay.
And I really don't like to be tied down, to be honest.
Okay, I understand. So what
nevertheless,
happened?
Nevertheless, I think just how the city is being ran is messed up right now. There is no respect for the officers, and as far as the system goes, Doc, what is
yeah. Turn that off, whatever that is. There you
go. Wait a minute. Wait.
Man,
what are you? A log off to come right back.
Okay. Yeah, because I don't know what's going on. Okay, I don't know what was going on with him. We that's our Pastor Willie Knight who has an issue with the violence, and everybody does downtown. And again, that is a byproduct of the lack of discipline that people don't choose to follow. I mean, that is just the byproduct. And people now, which is one of the reasons why in public schools, I'm always saying, hey, listen, if you don't get discipline, if you look at every successful school in this city, one of the most important ingredient that you will find is that they have discipline. They believe in discipline. Okay, everybody. Valiant Cross is an excellent school because they don't put up with none discipline. And one of the things that you have to agree to go to Valiant Cross is that you will adhere to the rules and the procedures and the policies of that school. And so they've been successful, not because although the Brock brothers are pretty good kids too, though they pretty good young men too. I won't call them kids. They're pretty good young men too, though. They have a legacy of, uh, of, of, uh, of success. And so I'm proud of that school. The folks, every time I see one of those kids, I know what school they go to. They got the little blue thing on, and they always act so respectful, just so tuned in. So I'm just telling you that those guys they are doing a wonderful job. If you happen to be out there and you want to, if you think I'm totally wrong, 521-2963 is the number, 521-2963. Hey, it's the only podcast you can actually call in and and uh, and give your opinion. I mean, I like to listen to other people too, because because there are a lot of people know lots of things that I don't. Okay, and the problem is the things I don't know that I don't know them. And probably same thing with you. There are things you don't know, and you don't know you don't know. So so it's always good to have a different opinion. My opinion is strictly my opinion. You're welcome to have your opinion. Uh, and somebody said, put your seatbelt on there, Pastor Knight. Yeah, which is true. It is the law. Let's get some discipline there now, okay? The numbers here are 521-2963 if you want to, or you can pop in and on the on the screen on the studio, and we can talk to you that way. Either or, it's up to you. I'm gonna leave a link on the Facebook page where all you have to do is just um, uh, go down a link on there, and you can just pop on in anytime you want to. As soon as I figure out where to put it. Okay, as soon as I figure out where to put the link here, if you don't have a phone at the moment, or you don't have your own, let me see if I can put that right there. Okay, put that right there. There you go. There you go. There you go. And so now you'll see a little blue box at the top of the page there. If you want to come in and you want to be part of the conversation or help me in the conversation, feel free to do that. And it'll be pinned. It'll be pinned to the top of the page, and you can just come on into our little studio. We call it a virtual studio, like Knight just did. So feel free to come on in. But anyway, what we were talking about, first of all, our prayers go out to the families in Bessemer who lost their daughter, 8 years old. She evidently the Guadalupe River, just 26 feet, it rose. And I can understand now where the water came from, flash flood. But that's what happened, and that's a shame. But it is it is. It is what it is. But anytime a child dies, it bothers me. It makes me feel more blessed, and I've been given more grace and mercy than I deserved. Especially, I'm still here at this age, and a little child is only 8 years old. But then again, I'm not the one who determines what ill fails anybody, or what's good, or what's bad, or anything like that. I just know that things do happen to people, and our prayers again go out to the people in Bessemer, Alabama, where they are. They suffered a tragic loss, and as a matter of fact, this has got to be the worst death occurring since 82 people, 43 are missing, 82 have been somehow either missing or drowned or whatever the case may be. Wow, this is terrible. I mean, this is terrible. It ought to be the main story in America right now. We as a nation, we should be praying for those people right there and be ready to help at a moment's notice when they need something, because that's terrible. Montgomery Whitewater Executive Director Jason Wilson previously helped launch the Montgomery Biscuits baseball team. That's the new head of the Montgomery Whitewater. executive director. So he's going to be the new director of it. So that's good. He helped with the biscuits, and the biscuits became a pretty good team. As a matter of fact, it did become a it has become a mainstay in the city of Montgomery. So maybe this guy will make Whitewater to grow the same way he did the Montgomery Biscuits. So hey, 21 years ago, he arrived in Montgomery with the Montgomery Biscuits, the Double-A affiliate of the Tampa Bay Rays, to bring minor league baseball games to a new $26 million Riverwalk Stadium downtown. He said, I helped open the Biscuits in 2004, and I was here for the first 6 years, said Wilson, who recently returned to become the new executive director of Montgomery Whitewater $90 million facility. Well, that's good. I think you got to treat it like it's a treasure, and then people will act like it's one. Okay, just as the ballpark's fans' experience goes beyond the action at the field with food and drinks and special activities and special events like that, Montgomery Whitewater is more than just a place where you go. Where's my well, I heard him down there, but I don't see. Oh, there he is, right there. Okay, good. You don't need a seatbelt on now.
No, not at all. Yeah, but you asked me a question about just what was going, how I see things and what's going on, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, due to the fact that the leadership in this city is super light, not strict, due to the fact that they're not doing, that they're, for whatever reason, they're unable to do their jobs, I feel like the constituents then lost pretty much respect for our law enforcement and for the law. Like you said, you don't really see traffic routine stops no more. You don't really see them, for whatever reason. It seems like our mayor has turned his back on the police. It wasn't that long, and the reason why I say that, it wasn't that we understand that we're having a hard time keeping officers, right?
Yeah, that's what they say.
Yeah, I mean it's not what they say; that's what it is.
Although I will say one thing, they're not having a hard time getting officers. You're absolutely right. We're having a hard time keeping the officers that we train because a lot of them go to other cities.
Okay, now let's look at what they're doing here. It wasn't but a couple of years ago when they were starting to go out the back door. Instead of dealing with the problem, they decided to come up with this thing called a police review board. So you're going to have a review board for officers that you don't have. But yet, crime is steadily spiking. Year after year, it's steadily spiking. I just, that whole thing right there between the mayor and law enforcement is something that people in the city turn a blind eye to. So now when you don't have no police officers and crime is getting higher because the criminals realize you don't have any police officers, you have a problem. The criminals understand that there are no officers. They know they can go and do whatever they want to do. And even if you call the police, chances are they're probably not going to come. That's where we're at.
Now, I assume they will come if they have the manpower to do it.
That shouldn't even be an issue. If they have the manpower to do, you're a tax-paying citizen. If you happen to reach out to law enforcement, they should respond. Whether it's serious or minor, it's up to the discretion of the officer when they arrive at the scene. If this was a real call or a worthless call, if it was a worthless call, you could be fined for that. But you don't even have enough officers to determine that when the calls are showing up because you just flat out don't have the manpower.
Let's say we're gonna make you mayor for a day. What's the first thing you're gonna do to fix that?
If I was mayor for a day, a few things, not just one. with the power that this mayor had, we would have been had a meeting with these judges, because it's the judges that keep letting the people out. That's one.
But aren't your judges? Isn't their actions dictated by the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the state of Alabama?
It is, but here's the killer part about it. They're all ran by the same laws. Why is it that if you commit a crime in Montgomery, it's not treated the same way as Prattville or Elmore County? You know, you're governed by the same laws. I mean, there is no backdoor to this one. What it is weak leadership. They don't feel like they have to do their job. They really don't. They feel like they do not have to do their job.
Now, what makes you think that the policing is done differently in those cities as opposed to Montgomery?
I tell you what, just drive in those cities, ride in those cities. You come off the internet and go ride in. I was just out there. I was in Prattville at least 3 days last week, 3 different times. The stuff I see here in Montgomery, you didn't even see over there in Prattville. Let's just cross the bridge. You know, what's going on here is tolerated. And the people that are doing the stuff here know that they can't do that nowhere else. And we know that.
Give me an example of some of the things you say you see here that you don't see up there.
I tell you what, this little part right there, because there was a party that took place, we'll just say Friday. Matter of fact, we'll do better than that. The foolishness y'all are complaining about in downtown Montgomery, it would never take place in Prattville.
And you can say that with all authority.
Absolutely. I tell you what, have you heard the people in Prattville complain about the stuff we're complaining about at the rate we're complaining about it? Loud music in their neighborhoods, places being shot up. Show me any story, any. I'm open to read. Have you heard any stories where their police officers did not respond when they called? Have you heard any stories about when they dialed 911, they got the answering machine? I'll wait. Have you heard any stories of them having a lack of officers? I'll wait.
Well, I don't live up there, so I really don't
I mean,
know.
we're close enough. They see everything. We see everything. Have you heard? Is my question. Absolutely not. Even we talking. Absolutely not. Definitely not Elmore County. Definitely not Clanton. I mean, so no. What? So there's got to be we're all governed under the same rules. So there's got to be a problem with something that we're doing.
I'm only going to disagree with you on one thing here, though. I'm all for the police review board, not as a means of supervising police, but there needs to be, and I ain't taking up for the mayor, but I know one of the reasons why we are where we are sometimes because there was an overabundance of police actions against people back in the day. You know what I'm saying? There were
okay, I understand that, but is that the problem now? The man said, what happened to the police review board? That's an easy one. You don't have no cops to review.
Well, that's not. We got some cops. We got somebody working.
I think me and you can review the 30 officers that we have on staff, right?
Yeah. But I believe that the review board itself is a way to have a liaison between us and the police and the mayor, because what's legal may not be right and what's right may not be legal. But in law, it's about what's legal and not. I mean, I don't think you ought to take people to jail for some of the things we take people to jail for. I don't think if you got paraphernalia in your store that sells that people use it to smoke stuff. I don't think you ought to go to jail for that.
I mean, I can agree with that, but let's just be honest. Is that the problem now?
No, no, no. That's
Okay,
not the
so
problem now.
why are we even dealing with issues
So
that are
what?
non-issues?
But we do. But we do. We spend too much time. But what do you think the biggest problem is?
Lack of leadership.
I mean, that's easy to say, but
I
give me
mean,
some.
that's what the problem is. It's that
Put
is
meat on the
no
bone.
everything starts with the top. Everything starts with the top.
Mhm.
If there's a problem, you always go to the top. And our top doesn't see the problem with what's going on. We have normalized everything that is like detrimental to our community. We've normalized a lot of stupid stuff. So no big deal. They're shooting, you know, here and there. You know, it's bad when the doctors get on TV and ask the public to stop shooting because they don't have enough beds to deal with the people.
Who did that?
That's not normal. The doctors are doing it. The doctors, you saw the same thing I saw. Could y'all please
Yeah.
stop the shooting? We don't have
Mhm.
enough beds to deal. But yet he'll get on TV and say crime is down. Where?
Well, what again? I mean, I'm agree with him on this. You can't put a policeman in everybody's house. You can't put one in every
It ain't
neighborhood.
about having a
So,
policeman at everybody's house. Structure, Kevin.
right.
Structure. When
But
you get them, back them. Structure,
yeah,
Kevin.
yeah.
The rules, follow them. He just went and erased a lot of debt off the books. It was something he signed where people that had old tickets, they were forgiven. You know,
Well,
I could
I'm
go,
all for that. I'm all
I
for
could
that.
go with that, but I'm just simply saying it's okay to give some, but all
Mhm.
he's been doing is giving to the point respect is out the window. You done forgave them of their debts. You done told the police officers to stop arresting them. Those that do arrest them and get in physical confrontations or whatnot, they get suspended. And the city has just went completely haywire. Lack of structure. That starts with the top. Ain't no way around it.
Let me ask him: have you asked for an audience with the mayor to
For what?
discuss?
He don't
Well,
even need to talk to me. He needs to do his job. For what?
well, again, I mean, maybe he can explain to you some of the procedures and things that they do. I mean, I don't know.
Well, what he might need to do instead of meeting with me is meet with some of these other mayors that are not having these issues and let them explain to him what they're doing in their cities so we can start, I guess, looking more like them.
Hmm. Well, I mean, I will admit to you that now on the other hand, we got more people than all those cities. You realize that, right? I mean, we got more people. So I mean, you're
We
gonna have
might
more.
have, okay, we used to have more people. We got more people leaving the city now than ever. Ride through Dalraida. You got empty houses all over the place. I'll do you one better. Since we're going to talk about the amount of people per capita, Montgomery is like almost neck and neck with Chicago. And Chicago got way more people than we do, but per capita, our crime rate is almost identical.
Mm. Well, I mean, I think you probably need to call up the mayor and have a sit down with him.
Doc, he don't listen. It's nothing for me to do. This is the job he asked for.
Mhm.
All I want to do is his job. Nobody pushed him up. Nobody twisted his arm. He applied for this job like the other people that ran. I don't have to have no special one-on-one time with him. All I'm asking is that he do his job. Just that
Mm.
simple. It's nothing to really sit down and clack glasses about. I think they done enough sitting and dancing since he came in the office. I think it's just time for him to do his job. I mean, anytime it's to the point where you can read about people just pulling up at stoplights, traffic lights in broad daylight and having shootouts,
You got people running stoplights like it's nobody's business. The boulevard has been turned into a doggone drag racing strip. Oh, they talking about you, Kevin.
Yeah, I know.
But the boulevard and the Atlanta highway has been turned into a straight drag racing spot. Shootouts happen almost all over the city, just at different times. There is no respect for officers. You barely see the police officers. It's just bad. It's bad, Kevin. It's bad. Y'all can keep saying it's only a small percent. That is a lie from the pits of hell. It reminds me of a story of something my mom used to tell me. She said, when you were in school, if you let the smallest person pick on you, then eventually everybody is going to start picking on you. Well, the small criminals were picking on our police officers and the good people here in Montgomery. Well, now, Kevin, that has multiplied. A lot of people are picking on the good people in Montgomery. You can't go nowhere and have a good time. They're fighting. It was a fight downtown about 2 or 3 weeks back to back. You got shootings all over the place. Matter of fact, I just read a story the other day. Somebody got shot in the parking lot of the hospital. That is starting to happen more and more.
That's true. Yeah, that's true.
Right. You got these HOAs that are, going bananas because folks are throwing parties out in certain neighborhoods. They're pissed off because the police don't respond in a reasonable time. And the only thing you keep hearing is that crime is down. You cannot ride on you cannot ride the boulevard and the Atlanta highway and don't witness a drag race almost every day. It doesn't even matter what time. People running just don't even stop at red lights no more. You name it. You name
it. Well, what do you think the mayor should do about it?
Resign. Let us get some stronger leadership. I just don't think it's nothing else he can do at this point. Business-wise, he's good. Public safety, he's horrible. So,
well, have you had a conversation with your city council person that represents your area?
Not only mine, but I've also spoken to a couple of others.
And what's the sentiment of them?
One of them is not going to touch it because you're too deep in his pockets. The other two that I've spoken to said they detected no lies.
Okay.
Right. When you got your city officials saying, "Well, I'm doing the best I can," or when they normally start off with that let you know you got them. They see it. They just don't know what to do, or they don't have enough support to do what needs to be done. I'm not the type that's going to continue to kick a dead horse.
Well, I'm gonna tell you what somebody said, and I agree. I agree. I was talking to the sheriff or talking to the police chief or somebody. They said we could stop crime, the majority of crime overnight, but in order to do that, you would have to step on a lot of people's constitutional rights, and then there brings another issue in. So, do we want to live in a quote unquote free society, which means this is one of the things that happens in a free society, or do we want to live, in a communist society where the government charges?
I look at it like this: your constitutional rights are already being violated.
Now you want to violate some more?
No, they're already being violated.
Such as?
Man, your freedoms are violated. You can't do what you want to do. Go strike a joint up and tell me how free you are. Don't let the MPD ain't gonna do nothing. Go to another city and strike a joint up and tell me how free you are. And that's
Wow.
something that comes from the ground.
I agree.
And you know,
Yeah,
and
it
you know
comes-
what's so crazy? In some states, some cities, marijuana is legal,
Yeah.
and in that same state, in certain areas, it's illegal. So it seems like your constitutional rights are already being violated because if you know, according to the law, whatever's the law is supposed to be the law. So we're not as free as we think we are. Tell you what else you do: start making your own alcohol in certain areas, and
Okay,
tell me
no.
how.
They stopped that in 1920s.
I mean, but you still got your constitutional right. You could do whatever you. So your constitutional right said if you want to be a girl and you're a boy, the government will pay for your operation. But that same government said that you're not allowed to smoke weed. That you didn't have to add nothing.
Well, Trump did away with that one. Yeah, we good on that one. We ain't gonna pay for your operation because you're confused. Yeah, they did away
But
with that.
isn't that amazing? The same government that said that you could switch sexes said that you can't smoke weed. Make that make sense.
Well, although Trump in office now, so we not. Matter of fact, the other day that he signed an executive order. Listen, if you're a man, you're a man. You don't play on women's sports. You play on men's sports.
I agree.
If you can't beat the men, then you just can't do it. Yeah, but yeah.
You know what? I got to go back and see what all these executive orders he didn't sign because he signed so many. I don't even know what the law is anymore.
Yeah, well, most of us don't till we break it. So, but that's okay. Well, I wanted to get you on because something happened downtown this weekend, and I just thought you wanted to elaborate on that, or what do you think?
I mean, what talking about the shooting down there?
Right? Was it a shooting or was it a?
They were shooting up and whatnot. It's normal now. It's normal now. So, and downtown is no more valuable than any other part of the city, but we've normalized that now. So you could take your date out to a nice little dinner at the Ravello, and as y'all are sitting there gazing in each other's eyes, pay absolutely no attention to the gunshots that are going on outside of the Ravello. Just continue to eat your meal. Pray that you have enough to pay for it. When you walk into the car, pray that you're not robbed on the way to the car. That's the new Montgomery.
It ain't that bad, is it?
When was the last time you went down there?
I don't go downtown.
Okay, well then start going down there.
Well, I can't afford to go downtown. I'm a poor man.
Well, maybe you need to get you a ski mask and a pistol and go down there and join the rest of the guys that are making money on the weekend.
Well, we ain't gonna go that far on it. But again, if you could tell the mayor, give him a suggestion what he should do, what would that be?
Go to one of these cities that are actually doing a lot better than us, and find out from them what they're doing, and try to pull some of those ideas from them.
Are they doing better, or is the crime not reported as much as it is here?
Doc, the crime is not being reported all over the place, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's kind of hard to ignore it when you're saying crime is down, but I log on City Watch Uncut and I'm looking at bodies laying in the streets, people hollering because the loved ones are shot. It's kind of hard to hide that.
Well,
it's kind of, so unfortunately, social media has replaced the news. We don't watch the news anymore. I log right on.
But how much credibility though? How much credibility do you give social media?
Way more than I give the news. The news is edited. The news, they pick what they want to tell you. Social media does it. No, they don't.
Yeah.
No, they don't. It's more wide open. I can go on the Nextdoor app. I'm looking at people posting ring cam videos of their houses, folks running up on the front doorstep, stealing packages off the front doorstep. You got people reporting break-ins, people reporting shootings. All you have to do is just sit back and count what you see and then look at what they're reporting. Social media has exposed what the world wasn't ready to deal with.
Well, Let's see, Uncut. Let me see what's on City Watch, Uncut Prattville, Uncut Montgomery. I don't see anything that's. Let me see. I see anything that's on there that's bad today. No, I don't see
It's
much
kind
on.
of early.
Huh?
It's early today.
It's early. Okay. But I don't see anything. Okay. Well, that means this morning though we're doing all right because I don't see anything on here at the moment that's bad at all. Not at the moment. Now last week, well, yeah, yeah. Somebody 16 minutes ago, somebody wrote, what happened on Norman Bridge in South Decatur this morning? They had a big police presence, yellow tape and all.
That don't sound like it was a choir rehearsal to me.
No, well, but as long as you have people, though, you're gonna have something happen.
Kevin,
You're gonna have
you are, but at the same token, if you ain't got structure, you're gonna have chaos.
Well, let me ask something. Again, though, we do got this. I know it gets in the way often, but we do got this thing called a Constitution, and you just
I'm
can't.
not saying. Listen, I'm not saying break no constitution. I'm not saying violate nobody's constitution. I'm simply saying do your job. When it comes down to, it seems like when it comes down to doing your job, now you want to talk about the Constitution, you want to talk about rights and this, that, and the other. Let's look at these other cities. Are they whining about the Constitution or are they living in peace? More peace than we are.
Well, of course, I live here, so I don't really know what's going on.
I tell you what, just go get outside of Montgomery, man. You know, I'm in and out all the time. Most of the times on business meetings. Get outside of the city. Evaluate what do you see around. Certain things that we allow, other cities don't allow it like that. Other towns don't.
What do you think we allow, though, that other cities don't?
I mean, panhandling is ridiculous.
Oh, well, that's true. That's true.
Panhandling in Montgomery is ridiculous. That's just for starters.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, the mayor doesn't really go for putting people in, getting rid of the panhandle. I will say that much about him. He because the SPLC came downtown a year or so ago, 2 years ago, whenever it was, and whining about it. The governor signed a law, though, you are not supposed to panhandle on state road, Federal Drive, Atlanta Highway, and they there. But now you just got done saying a few minutes ago that we don't have enough policemen. So do we take the time from the policemen to have panhandle, or do we do other serious crimes?
Well, I'm gonna tell you like this. At this point, I think we just need a flat out new regime. Let them come in and let them start from scratch. We can't build with what we have. We just can't. I have absolutely zero faith in what we have in office right now as a whole. There are a few good members, but as a whole, we're in trouble. And everything starts with the head. You know, it is what it is. There is no fixing it with what we have. None. No meetings, one-on-one meetings. No, that's all we all been doing is having meetings. And it seems like the more meetings you have, the more dangerous it gets around here.
I mean, that's kind of harsh, though, my brother.
No, it's reality. It is reality. If you're looking for me to gaslight you with the sock puppets and the Santa Claus, then you got the wrong guy. I'm just gonna call it how I see it. It's work. You guys have had all these meetings, all these studies, and it's even more dangerous now. Miss Cruz got shot and killed in her front yard on Mother's Day. Right. You just had Arsenio Hawthorne got shot in the back on Bragg Street and killed. That's been about 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago. We just had a 13-year-old girl that was in her bed got shot and killed. We've had drag racing galore in this city. We've had, I mean, come on, folks can't even go to the hospital. My car was stolen twice by the same culprit who left. Look, it's stuff like that. Stuff like that. People can't even go to the hospital and get medical attention without even having to worry about being shot over there. And all your mayor is doing is dancing, smiling, doing galas, and going and seeing how his buddies are doing out of town. Like, come on, man. You can't make this stuff up.
Well,
so at what point do we stop BSing and stop, hopping on the fact, we got our first black man. Congratulations, we did that. But I think he's taken us as far as he can. So, we need somebody else, give somebody else a chance to pick up where we are. I wouldn't mind seeing a JC Love in that position. I wouldn't mind anybody. Just give me some better options. Give us somebody else. We need a new regime. Have you ever done a tune-up on a car?
Sure.
Okay, how many times, if you got a 6-cylinder, how many spark plugs you got to change?
6.
Okay. With this regime, I think that Montgomery needs a tune-up. We got several people in office. I think the best thing we could do is replace several people.
Well, you're a citizen of America and Montgomery, so you have a right to your opinion. And
right, and that's all it is. It's just my opinion. Now, if y'all are excited and you're happy about the bodies being laid off in the streets, then by all means, let's keep what we got. In fact, Zeke is in the military, right?
Yes.
I can give you a surefire plan on how to send your grandkids to school for free if you're interested.
How is that?
Go find you about 5 or 6 people in Montgomery and put some life insurance on them and just sit back.
Well, you can't put life insurance on people unless they know it's there.
They're not gonna have a problem with
it. Somebody said they didn't care about finding the culprits, but rather just be glad you got your wrecked car back. Oh, ooh, that's kind of tough.
I mean, they would have had to go ahead and lock me on up behind that one. Glad you got your wrecked car back.
Well,
but that's who we are.
We got this thing though called we got this thing called the Constitution, and I hear what you're saying.
Is the Constitution only good in Montgomery?
Well, no, it's supposed to be good all around the nation.
Okay, you're the only one I hear whining about a Constitution. I don't hear nobody else hollering about it.
Well,
and guess what? I guarantee you, they're not going to their front yard with their cars missing. They're not worried about being shot at the hospital, and they're under the same Constitution we are.
Well, it's kind of like somebody said, we could get rid of crime overnight, but you'd have to get rid of every constitutional right a person has.
Man, look here, you ain't got to do all of that. All you got to do is just your job, like everybody else. Those are scapegoats to keep from doing your job. Just do your job. Not asking you for much. Just do your job.
Well, let me ask you a question. You need to sit down with the mayor and tell him this. You're a citizen. Call him out. I mean, maybe he really think he's protecting. He don't want a rambunctious police department going around arresting everybody and doing this and that. Why don't you just?
Maybe what I need to do is mail him. Maybe what I need to do is drop off some mail at the city hall of obituaries of people that have been slaughtered in his streets. Cause I got enough of them I got enough of them. I can distribute what I have amongst our 9 city council.
1 second. Let me get this. Hey, good morning.
Good morning, Tim.
How you doing?
Fine, and you?
I'm doing fine. What you got running in the background? Turn that down because that's messing me up. What's on your mind?
Oh, I just called you. Don't we have a stand your ground law in Montgomery?
A stand your ground law. I don't know. Do we got a stand your ground law, Pastor Nate?
Nah,
Well, I guess if you get to carry guns, though, you have a right to stand your ground.
you have a self-defense, but not a stand your
Come
ground.
on your property. They say put up the no trespass sign, and
That's
when you
a
look at it, if you
self-defense.
come out in your car, you just stand your ground. See, until that happens, until people start taking back their freedom too, then the criminal gonna forever win. Because if I see somebody out there in my yard, hey, you live here. Hey, the police get there.
Yeah, I hear it. Well, let's not be too hyper about stand your ground because next thing you know you'll be standing in jail.
Sometimes you might not have
They
no
look
other
another way
choice.
with the criminals. So what's the difference?
Yeah. No, I hear
The
you.
victim is getting slapped. So what else more can you do?
Carla, let me ask you a question. Why do you think that Prattville, Millbrook, Elmore County, Wetumpka don't seem to have, they got crime, but they don't seem to have it as bad as we got? Why do you think so?
Because they take you go past and go straight to jail. Pass go and go straight to jail. They take you on to the jailhouse.
Oh, somebody said that Alabama does have a stand your ground.
Okay then.
Yeah.
I have no trespass signs all the way around my house. All the way around. It's a post your property.
Thank you, Gary.
All the way around here, no trespass.
Well, you just can't shoot somebody because they're in your yard, though.
If they have my God, I can.
In your house. Yeah, I'm good with the house, but not the yard.
House, what else? Property, what else?
I mean, we don't. I mean, somebody could get lost. A person with dementia or something could be in your yard. You don't want to, you don't want to pop a cap in them. I mean, come on.
Wait, but I hope I don't get dementia either.
Yeah, I hear you.
So if it comes between you and me.
Yeah, just between you and I. Yeah, that's it. Okay.
You and I, you corrected me after 30 years.
No. I was saying just between you and I wouldn't correct you. I mean, I think, listen, language is about communicating. As long as we communicate, I don't care what you say. Hey.
I give you 1 point, Kevin.
Yeah. Anyway, see you later. All right. Appreciate it. Evidently, my Alabama does have a stand your ground law. I didn't know that. Because man, I'm a nonviolent man. I say let's make love, not war. So that's where I roll. You know what I mean? What you looking at, man?
Just thinking, man.
Oh, okay. What this guy said? All guns create a lack of communication to resolve conflicts. Yeah, and listen, this guy brings a great. What I'm not blaming the governor for the proliferation of gun crimes, but I am telling you, if you can get a gun and you don't have to tell anybody you got it, you don't have to have a license for anything like that. All of a sudden, you're 5'6", but you feel like you're 6'6", because you got a gun in your pocket, and conflict resolution is out the window. So I think we ought to rethink that. If nothing else, people have to carry a license for concealed. I think.
I thought, didn't they have to carry that at one point?
Yes, they had to carry it. I don't know why people thought. Yeah, because we wanted to. I got one too. But we want to know who's carrying a gun. That's what we want to know. If it's concealed,
well,
and if you
I would say this: those that are causing the problems don't have a license.
Never had one.
So there lies the bulk of your problems. So now it comes to this right here. What are you going to do about it?
Right. But the problem is, right, because we have no license to carry concealed, we have people now who think they all of a sudden got a foot taller because they got a gun in their pocket, and therefore they don't have to resolve the issue peaceably. They can just pull out their little gun and they shoot you or you shoot them. So I think having that license though means that you are accountable to somebody for using that gun.
Let me ask you this, okay? So you asked the question. I was listening to something that the caller had said. What do you think will happen if they had it set? And I'm almost for certain that something like this is riding in certain areas. If you commit a crime with a gun and it's not self-defense, it's mandatory that you see the judge, no bond.
I'm with you. As long as it's not self-defense, I'm with you. I think that's me.
You know, let's not let. When you look at it, like I thought about something that Chief Harris had said when she came in behind Finley. She said that we keep rearresting the same people. Mm-hmm. Well, why are you keep arresting the same people? Because they'll do something, make bond before they see the judge, and then go out and do something else. So if you commit a crime with a gun and it's not self-defense, keep them in until they see the judge. My nephews can get a burner.
I don't know what a burner is.
They're not. Shabazz is not lying. They are not.
What's a burner?
That's a throwaway gun.
Oh, so y'all know this street talk. See, I don't know what that is. I'm getting too old to learn street talk again. Oh, okay.
It's a throwaway gun.
Well, we don't want to do that. Well, you don't need a throwaway gun anymore. Or you can go get a gun now. Just go to the store and get one. Well, unless
but depend on. But you don't want to have a body or something on the one that you carry on you every day. So they'll just get a burner, do what they're gonna do, and then bounce, throw it away and bounce.
Let me ask you, and this is gonna be controversial, and I understand that we ain't gonna have time. We don't have time to cover this in depth, but I would say that our problem in our communities is a lack of daddies, not a lack of fathers. Everybody's got a father, but a lack of daddies involved with these young kids. And now those kids are growing up now, and they are doing some of the most craziest thing. How do we get our young men to understand when you make a baby, that's your responsibility?
I mean, he already know it. It's nothing to understand. He understands how to make it. He understands that someone has to take care of it. But what he needs to understand is accountability and responsibility. And it goes back to structure. We're not holding certain people accountable anymore. They've made it too easy the way you can make a baby and walk off. And it's sad. It's sad. Everybody, unfortunately, Kevin, everybody has a right to breathe, but they shouldn't.
Well, I'm glad somebody bred me, so we good. So.
I'm just saying, you got a right to breed, but a lot of people shouldn't. But if you're not ready to make that commitment to that child, if you're not ready to make that type of a commitment to that child, whether you're with that woman or not, if you're not willing to make a commitment to that child to be there for them, it's deeper than a marriage. Good, bad, better for worse, until they get 18 or death do you apart. If you're not ready to make that commitment, then don't make the baby. And it's just that simple. We know what we're doing. Mm-hmm. We know what it takes to get them.
Well, some of us don't.
Yes, you do. When you lower your trousers, just what can happen.
Okay, preacher.
I mean, unfortunately, Kevin, hey, my coffee ain't kicked in yet, so you still catching it raw and uncut. And I tell my daughters the same thing. Don't let nobody talk you into nothing, a situation that you ain't gonna be able to handle, because my baby rocking days are done.
Yeah,
my baby's gonna be 13. I'm gonna enjoy some of my life before it's over with. I'm not gonna be tied down with no grandbabies, and not right now. And they understand. So y'all feeling all lovey-dovey. I tell you what, with some of these laws that they changing, it's gonna make you think twice before you let that woman talk you into that bed or that man talk you into the bed. You're gonna look at them a little bit differently, knowing that you ain't gonna be able to take advantage of a lot of these systems like they used to. So accountability, responsibility, and you know what? Stop thinking that the only men that you could talk to would have to be your son. Talk to some of these boys that don't have fathers. Remind them, hey, look, you go out there lowering your britches if you want to and make that baby. That's going to be on you. You know how expensive Pampers are? You know how expensive milk is? How much do you like getting sleep? You like being disturbed at your sleep every 2.5 hours because the baby hungry? You got to put it where they can get it.
Yeah.
Stop
sugarcoating it. Then maybe y'all preachers need to have them sermons in the church.
I ain't got nothing to do with them. Maybe they need to have that conversation at home.
Well, they do, but if you don't get it at home, you got to get it someplace.
Listen.
Yeah.
A lot of them don't go to church, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the chances of them hearing the preacher is slim to none. They'll hear him when they go to the next funeral.
Well, take to church to them.
Well, I mean, we do that every day. The
Yeah.
church is in your heart. You do it every day. But here's the thing. Why not start with mom and dad? Why not let it start in the house?
Well, I hear you, but sometimes you don't get it.
Well, I tell you what, it needs to start in the house because the preacher ain't the one going to have to change the diapers.
No, I hear you. I hear you. And that sounds good. But we got
okay, I tell you what. If Zeke go out there and make a baby, I ain't got to change one pamper.
Me either.
You say the same?
Yeah, I can.
He bringing that baby back to you. He ain't bringing it to me.
No, that's my last baby right there. That Zarel. That's my last child. we done. He can't. Matter of fact, this week he can't a rucksack. He got to go on a 5-mile road march.
I've seen this picture you had on Facebook. You look.
Yeah.
Hey, you marked that poor boy.
Yeah, I'm trying to tell you. But he's loving it. He ain't loving it, but he's dealing with it. So I said, okay, well, that's what a man does. He deals with what he got to deal with. Anyway, Pastor Knight, thank you so much for joining us this morning. I'll send a copy of this to the mayor. Let him know how you feel.
He already know. It'll just be a reminder.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you can't do the job, resign. Enough people have died on your clock, on your watch. Resign.
So no family structure or tied or tribal relationships brought wealth and families together. Sex and just in the nature of marriage. See if I get this one more time. See if I get one more for you, let you go. Good morning. Okay. Appreciate it. I gotta let you go, man. We out of time, but it's always you. Just join us anytime you want to join us. I like a preacher that don't use the political correctness, but pretty much just tells it, like it is.
That's all I know, Corbin. That's all I know.
Interesting. Pastor Willie Knight, what's the name of your church?
North Montgomery Baptist Church. We're located right there at 1527 Ferguson Street, right here in Montgomery, Alabama.
All right, then. They got a number. What?
Huh? Yeah, I mean, the purpose in calling the number, and nobody's up there, but if you know anybody that's in the need of some groceries, we do have a food bank ministry that is wide open to the public. Some of the best times to come will be Wednesdays between 10 to 12, Saturdays, same time, or Sundays after service. We have a food bank. It is absolutely free. It's for the public, pretty much for those that are in need. It's come one, come all. We've done over, at this point, I think we've did over 2,000 bags so far. And I didn't realize how many people were really in need for food, but it's more than what you think, and it ain't the people that you think. So for anybody that may be in need, and keep in mind, this thing is extremely confidential. We're not taking no pictures, blasting on social media. I believe what we do it from the heart, and it's between us. So if you know anyone that is in need, you know, we invite them to come down. Kevin, you can, like I say, 1527 Ferguson Street, Montgomery, Alabama. They can reach me at 334-543-5381. And like I said, let us be some of assistance to you. God has blessed us to bless somebody else. And so, you know, we must work while it's still day. Keep in mind, Kevin, we came to serve. I didn't come to be served, but to serve. So before I was Pastor Knight, I was still a servant. And I'm still a servant now. Okay. That's it.
Do you got any thick bologna?
No, they got some chicken.
Oh, I'm tired of chicken.
No, you ain't.
I guess I ain't that hungry yet.
So if I see you at Popeyes, I'm gonna be like, so I thought you were tired of chicken.
Yeah, I haven't eaten Popeye, man, in months. I'm at check it out, and I don't like Popeye. I don't like Popeyes that much anymore. I gave him enough. Yeah, I don't like churches either anymore. Yeah, I don't know. We can talk about that, but if I get hungry enough, I'll take some chicken. Don't get me wrong. Yeah, a little chicken is better. A little chicken is better than no chicken.
Yeah, it is.
Give your address. Give your address to your church one more time.
1527 Ferguson Street, Montgomery, Alabama. The name of the church is North Montgomery. You know, once again, the distributing hours are from 10 to 12 on Wednesdays, Saturdays, and from about 12:30 until on Sundays. So if you're in need, come by and see us. We'll be glad to serve you, and glad to have you.
All right.
Y'all have a good day.
Appreciate it. Anyway, that was Pastor Willie Knight. And listen, our time's almost up anyway. So we got to go. That was an interesting conversation. Willie think the mayor's slacking on his job when it comes to crime. See if I can get him on next week sometime. I'm always knocking down all my stuff here. Sorry about that. I gotta do a better job. Okay. So we'll okay, I gotta go. See you guys tomorrow. Good Lord says the same. Bye.